Did you know that Tiffany made a fortune from selling weapons in 1861 during the American Civil War? Or that the founder, Charles Lewis Tiffany, started the company with a loan of just $1,000? Tiffany's story is a unique tale of foresight, innovation, and keen eyes for excellence. From a tiny gift shop on Broadway that generated just $4 in sales on the first day, to having over 300 stores around the world and raking in billions of dollars in revenue yearly, Tiffany Co. has transcended the bounds of time, space, and expectation. Tiffany Co. has been in business for almost 200 years, and it's still going strong. What is the secret of this longevity and success? How did Tiffany Co. evolve from a small shop to a global phenomenon? Sit back and let's turn through the history of Tiffany Co. together. Let's go back to the year 1812, where everything began with Charles Lewis Tiffany's birth. Many thanks to Sky is the Limit for sponsoring this video. The year was 1812, in the small town of Killingly, Connecticut. Charles Lewis Tiffany was born into a family of modest means. No one, not even Tiffany himself, would have thought that he, the little boy from Connecticut, would someday become the creator of one of the world's most prestigious brands. Charles was born to the family of Comfort Tiffany, a cotton mill owner, and his wife, Chloe Draper. Tiffany's family roots stretched back to the 17th century, when Squire Humphrey Tiffany, an immigrant from England, settled in Massachusetts Bay Colony. Charles attended a district school and later attended an academy in Plainfield, Connecticut. When he was just 15, Charles began managing a store his father founded. This was probably where young Charles developed an interest in business and catering to the tastes and needs of the elite. And as he grew older, his ambition and vision intensified. In 1837, Charles saw the rapidly growing city of New York as the perfect place to begin his business. So he requested a loan of $1,000 from his father. It was this loan that Charles and his friend, John B. Young, used to open a small stationery and gift shop on Broadway, New York City. The first day at the store could not get more discouraging. Charles and his friend recorded a mere $4.98 in sales. But Charles was not put off by this disappointment. He knew that if he set a standard of quality and excellence, he could create something big out of the business, something massive. Thus, he set out to tread his own path. One of the things he did differently was to discourage any form of haggling in his business by putting a price tag on his goods. This was not a common trend at the time. In the years that followed, Charles Tiffany and his store achieved remarkable success. This changed the jewelry trade, establishing Tiffany Co. as everyone's choice jeweler.
Tease me.
As time went by, Tiffany Co. expanded its product collections. The store added other products like glassware, clocks, porcelain cutlery, and most importantly, jewelry to its repertoire. In 1841, the company expanded again, and this time, it changed its name to Tiffany, Young, and Ellis, who were the major stakeholders in the business at the time. It was around this time that the store moved from just jewelry sales and started manufacturing and designing its own jewelry. 4 years later, Tiffany Co. decided to be innovative with its marketing and published the first mail-order catalog known as the Blue Book. This catalog publishing was so successful that it continues to this day. So, it did not come as a surprise when the store's reputation for excellent craftsmanship and refined state spread like wildfire, and it became a must-visit for the city's elite. But Tiffany's ambition was not just to be a successful jeweler. He wanted to do things differently. So, in 1848, when political unrest in Europe drove down the prices of precious stones, Tiffany saw a golden opportunity and took it. He invested heavily in diamonds and sold them at a great profit some years later. This move not only increased the company's financial returns, but also marked their grand entry into the gems and precious stones business. In 1853, Ellis left the company. So, Charles Tiffany changed the company's name to what we know today, Tiffany Co. Charles also used this opportunity to establish its focus on jewelry trade. Meanwhile, Tiffany was already international at this point. He opened a branch in Paris in 1850, and he went on to open another branch in London many years later. As a businessman, Tiffany had the unique ability to see beyond the corner. He could see opportunities where others saw crises. It was this ability that could explain his decision to turn most of his capital to invest in the manufacture of swords, metals, and other war materials in 1961, when the American Civil War started. Throughout the Civil War, Tiffany Co. sold swords, flags, medals, and even medical instruments to the American Union Army in their fight to preserve the unity of the American Republic and prevent it from breaking up. The returns from the singular move profited the company greatly and also made Tiffany a patriot. Tiffany Co. continued to soar throughout the latter half of the 19th century, especially in the silver craftsmanship. In 1867, the company became the first American company to be awarded the grand prize for silver craftsmanship at the Paris World's Fair. This endorsement established Tiffany's status as a leader in the luxury goods industry and moved the company to new heights of success. 3 years later, the company erected a new store at 15 Union St. Manhattan. The new building was designed by John Kellum and cost a whooping sum of $500,000 at the time. The grandeur of this building was such that the New York Times described it as a palace of jewels. By the end of the 19th century, Tiffany's dream had become a reality. His company, Tiffany Co., had grown to a globally renowned enterprise, known for its quality, innovation, and excellence. As the 19th century drew to a close, Tiffany Co. was already a household name in the luxury goods industry. The company had grown from a humble stationery shop to a global brand, and the company owed all of its immense success and growth to the leadership and vision of Charles Lewis Tiffany. But Charles Tiffany's reign was not to last forever. In 1902, at the age of 90, after leading the company for well over 6 decades, the legendary founder passed away. It was time for a new leader to step forward and guide Tiffany Co. That leader was no other person than Charles Tiffany's 54-year-old son, Lewis Comfort Tiffany. Louis was a renowned artist and designer in his own right, and he stepped in as the company's first art director upon his father's death. Under Lewis's leadership, the company's design aesthetic underwent a profound transformation. He introduced a stunning array of stained glass windows, glass mosaics, and jewelry that captivated the imaginations of the era's elite. Tiffany Co. experienced even greater success under Lewis in a very short time. In 1905, just 3 years after he took over from his father, Louis moved the company's flagship store in Manhattan to the corner of 37th Street and 5th Avenue, where it would remain for the next 35 years. As the 20th century progressed, Tiffany's designs remained endearing to the people. And before long, the company started conducting businesses with the government. In 1919, Tiffany Co. helped the United States Department of Navy revise the Medal of Honor. The revised medal was dubbed Tiffany Cross. This Tiffany Cross was rare because it was awarded only for combat heroism, while the design that preceded it was reserved for non-combat. The Navy started using the Tiffany Cross for non-combat heroism as well in 1942, before it subsequently scrapped the Tiffany Cross and two-medal system in August 1942. In 1940, Tiffany Co. moved its flagship store one more time. It moved from Manhattan to the 727 Fifth Avenue building, where it still stands today. The building was designed by Cross & Cross. As the company expanded and underwent leadership changes, the designers in the company were also changed as well. In 1956, the legendary French designer Jean-Michel Schlumberger joined Tiffany as vice president. He had been invited by the chairman of the company at the time, Walter Hoving. Walter Hoving bought control of Tiffany in 1955 and led the company to even greater heights over the next 25 years. Schlumberger also joined in 1956 and was given the responsibility of setting one of Tiffany's prized possessions, known as Tiffany Yellow Diamond. Tiffany Yellow Diamond is one of the largest yellow diamonds ever discovered. The gemstone was originally 287.42 carat when it was discovered in the Kimberley mines of South Africa in 1878. Tiffany had obtained it in 1979, and Charles Tiffany's gemologist, George Frederick Kunz, had cut the diamond. He shaped the diamond into a cushion shape with 90 facets, enhancing its brilliance. After working on setting this diamond for some years, Schlumberger finally chose the ribbon rosette necklace as the final design for the diamond. It was this necklace that was worn by Audrey Hepburn in 1961 to promote Breakfast at Tiffany's. After Audrey, only 3 other people have worn Tiffany's yellow diamond, and they are Mrs. E. Sheldon Whitehouse, Lady Gaga, and Beyoncé. During his time at Tiffany Co, Schlumberger worked out of his studio in the Fifth Avenue office, and he would go on to create some of Tiffany Co.'s most iconic designs like Bird on a Rock, bold color rings, the Cooper bracelet, and the 16-stone diamond ring, among others. How would you like to get yourself a fine pair of sneakers from a reliable store? Sky is the Limit is an online fashion store that deals in quality sneakers. Invest in your looks by adding a pair of great sneakers to your collection today. Click the link in the description to shop now. As the 20th century progressed, Tiffany Co. found itself in a challenging situation. Avon Products Inc., a cosmetic company, acquired Tiffany Co. in 1979 for a reported sum of $104 million. This unexpected move shook the company, and before long, some of the top executives were already calling for the replacement of the chairman and CEO of Tiffany Co. at the time, Walter Hoving. Avon's chairman, David Mitchell, made attempts to keep Hoving on as the chairman of the company, but Hoving would just not have it. He said he would rather retire than not be in control of the company's affairs. Hoving retired as CEO and chairman in 1981 and was replaced by Harry Platt, the great-grandson of Louis Comfort Tiffany. Harry had been a part of the company since he joined in 1947 after serving in the Second World War. He had been a part of the company's growth for over 30 years and was eager to make his mark in his new role to sustain the legacy of his ancestors. In his own words, "I plan to expand our precious stone business, including diamonds, rubies, emeralds, and sapphires, and to expand the activities of our designing team." Mr. Platt encouraged a new generation of jewelry and silver designers to join Tiffany. Some of the designers he brought into the company are Elsa Peretti, Paloma Picasso, and Angela Cummings. However, his time as CEO was short-lived after he was ousted from the company in that same year. The Avon Era proved to be a difficult and tumultuous time for the company. Customers were reporting a loss of the brand's personal touch and lower product quality. As if these were not already doing enough damage, under Avon, Tiffany began to discount its products heavily. This move affected Tiffany's image as a merchant of luxurious goods. These woes culminated in a reduction in the sales of their products. But just when it seemed that all hope was lost, an investor group bought Tiffany from Avon for $135.5 million. The new ownership wasted no time in restoring the company's reputation and reigniting the Tiffany spark. In 1987, the company went public once again and was able to raise $103.5 million by selling 4.5 million shares of common stock. The capital raised from the shares sales enabled the company to focus on quality, innovation, and great customer service, which had been its hallmarks. Things were good for a while. But when the recession of the early 1990s started taking its toll, Tiffany Co. was forced to reevaluate its strategies. The company started introducing more affordable options to its customers. In fact, Tiffany had to launch a campaign that made its products accessible to a broader audience. With this move, Tiffany managed to stay afloat and weather the storm. Tiffany Co. had survived the economic challenges of the 90s and had emerged stronger and better. The company was gradually starting to live up to the expectations of the name again. But a new chapter was about to begin. In November 2019, Louis Vuitton announced its plans to acquire Tiffany Co. for $16.2 billion. The deal suffered a setback that led to each party suing the other in court. After some back and forths, LVMH eventually bought Tiffany for $15.8 billion in January 2021. After the acquisition, LVMH hit the ground running. LVMH replaced several of Tiffany's senior executives with executives from LVMH, and Alexandre Arnault, the son of Bernard Arnault, LVMH's CEO, was made the executive vice president. What this means for the 187-year-old company is still unclear, but it's looking good. LVMH Group intends to expand Tiffany Co.'s presence in Europe and China. In the group's words, Tiffany is less exposed than rivals to Asia Pacific, a major driver for luxury sales, which accounted for 28% of its worldwide sales of $4.4 billion in 2019. With the backing of LVMH, one can only expect Tiffany Co. to rise to new heights of success and acclaim. For over 180 years, Tiffany Co. has captivated the world with its excellent craftsmanship, innovative designs, and enduring legacy of excellence. The company's story has been one of vision, tenacity, and a relentless pursuit of perfection. While the company has had its own fair share of challenges and has gone through ups and downs, there is no denying that Tiffany Co. is one of the greatest jewelry brands in the world today. As the company embarks on a new path under the ownership of Louis Vuitton, the future has never looked brighter for this brand. Truly, if one stays true to their vision and works very hard at it, one can achieve anything. Sky is the limit.